The preposition in is simply in, but it can be combined with masculine and feminine articles to form nel, nello, and nella. The same goes for their plural forms, which we'll cover later. Learning when to omit the article and simply say in is just a matter of practice. There is no set rule. In general, we could say that more general concepts, like the idea of a location, use in. A specific or non-obvious location will require an article. For example, Marco is in the house. Marco è in casa. Here, you can assume that the other person knows which house you're referring to. Let's assume they don't, so you specify. Marco is in the red house to the left. Marco è nella casa rossa a sinistra. Marco è nella casa rossa a sinistra. Right is destra, destra. Left is sinistra, sinistra. The dog is in the car. Il cane è in macchina. The dog is in the old SUV. Il cane è nel vecchio SUV. Il cane è nel vecchio SUV. Again, when it's not obvious to the other person what place we are referencing, we add an article and, usually, more information. This doesn't always hold true. Consider this exchange. Where's my phone? It's in the drawer. What drawer? In the office. In my office? Dov'è il mio telefono? Dov'è il mio telefono? È nel cassetto. È nel cassetto. Quale cassetto? Quale cassetto? In ufficio. In ufficio. Nel mio ufficio? Nel mio ufficio? Here, we can see that even though cassetto, drawer, was not a specific one, we still used nel. There's no specific rule, so besides the general principle, we can use a few tips to guide use. We almost always use just in before countries, regions, big islands and continents if their name is singular. In Italy, in Italia. In Italia. In Europe, in Europa. In Europa. To indicate a place, but not a specific point. In the library, in biblioteca. In biblioteca. In the office, in ufficio. In ufficio. Before means of transportation in a general sense. In the car, in macchina. In macchina. In the train, in treno. In treno. In the boat, in barca. In barca. For abstract ideas and concepts. In general, in generale. In generale. In practice, in pratica. In pratica. Conversely, we almost always use nel, nello, nella when referring to a specific place or somewhere that the speaker may not know. In the park, nel parco. Nel parco. When referring to small enclosed spaces, in the wardrobe, nell'armadio. Nell'armadio. In the drawer, nel cassetto. Nel cassetto. In the bag, nella borsa. Nella borsa. When referring to a moment in time, in 1988. Nel 1988. In the Middle Ages. Nel Medioevo. Note that this last instance may extend beyond phrases that use in English, such as on the weekend, nel weekend. Nel weekend. Unfortunately, these rules are merely a general principle and there are many exceptions. But don't worry, with a bit of practice, students pick up pretty quickly on what form is correct. And either way, Italian speakers will perfectly understand what you meant to say, even if you make the wrong choice. And don't worry about memorizing the examples we just used. Those are just to help explain the grammar. Instead, remember, in plus il is nel. In plus lo is nello. And in plus la is nella. Let's practice a bit. My office is il mio ufficio. Il mio ufficio. How would we say in my office? Nel mio ufficio. Nel mio ufficio. The boot. Lo stivale. Lo stivale. In the boot. Nello stivale. Nello stivale. My bag is la mia borsa. La mia borsa. In my bag. Nella mia borsa. Nella mia borsa. Do you remember to do? Fare. I want to do it here. Voglio farlo qui. Voglio farlo qui. And to know, sapere. I know. So. I know where the chair is. So dov'è la sedia. So dov'è la sedia. Unlike English, dove and dov'è, always stay together in Italian. Literally, I know where is the chair. You know. Sai. Do you know that I do it today? Sai che lo faccio oggi? Sai che lo faccio oggi? The best way to say he is lui. Lui. And the way to say she is lei. Lei. Let's begin by conjugating a few verbs to familiarize ourselves with some common patterns. I know, io so. Io so. Remember, it's not so, it's so. Io so. You know, tu sai. Tu sai. He or she knows, lui or lei sa. Lui or lei sa. But what about fare? I do is io faccio. Io faccio. You do, tu fai. Tu fai. He or she does is lui or lei fa. Lui or lei fa. You might start to see a pattern here. Like we learned earlier, Italian verbs are divided into three main groups based on their infinitive endings. Are verbs, for example, parlare, to speak. Ere verbs, for example, leggere, to read. And ire verbs, dormire, to sleep. Conjugating changes according to the person, first, second, and third, and the number, singular or plural. To conjugate, simply remove are, ere, ire, and replace them with the appropriate ending. Here is a simple table that will work most of the times. Parle plus are, we remove are, io plus o, tu plus I, lui, lei plus ei. Ere, leggi plus ere, we remove ere, io plus o, tu plus I, lui, lei plus i. Ire, sentire, sent plus ire, we remove ire, io plus o, tu plus I, lui, lei plus i. Io sento, tu senti, lui or lei sente. Io leggo, tu leggi, lui, lei legge. Io parlo, tu parli, lui, lei parla. As with everything in Italian, there are many exceptions, almost as many as verbs covered by the rule itself. The good news is that exceptions usually only alter one or two of the verb endings, and only slightly. If you follow the rule, you'll always be close enough, and practice will do the rest.